In today's video, we're going to be covering a horrifying and gruesome anime, Berserk, from 2016. Berserk was created by the legendary Kentaro Miura, and it's a franchise that continues to influence various anime and manga today. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss another update. Now, without further ado, let's get it. Berserk was brought back to TV screens in 2016, decades after its initial debut in the late 1990s. By this point, Kentaro Miura had published hundreds of chapters of the manga. The series was picked up by Jemba and Milipensi, who decided to fund the production of the new anime adaptation of Berserk. Acting as a sequel to the late 90s anime, this version of Berserk premiered in July 2016 and aired until June 2017. Consisting of 24 episodes over 2 seasons, beginning with the Conviction arc. 2 years after the events of the eclipse, we are reintroduced to the legendary warrior Guts. One day, Guts walks into an inn where a group of bandits are tormenting an elf named Puck. Guts beats up the thugs, and Puck decides to travel with Guts. Later, they hitch a ride with a priest named Adolf. After sunsets, Guts is attacked by spirits, possessing skeletons, which kill Adolf and his daughter. Guts then fights off the skeletons and a possessed tree. The next morning, Guts is surrounded by the Holy Iron Chain Knights, who have been tracking him since the day of the eclipse. Guts kills several of the Holy Iron Chain Knights and fights their vice commander Azan, but collapses from his wounds. At the Knights' camp, their leader, Farnace, interrogates Guts for answers about the Band of the Hawk, having found the mercenary group's bloodied remains after the eclipse. But Guts mocks Farnace, provoking her to whip him in rage before Azan stops her and locks Guts in a cage. At nightfall, Guts is freed by Puck and takes Farnace as a hostage to escape. One of the Holy Chain Knights, Serpico, chases after Guts before finding himself surrounded by evil spirits. However, the spirits pass Serpico and possess dogs that chase Guts to an abandoned mansion. Guts kills the dogs and encounters the Keeper of the Hounds. The Keeper is an apostle. Apostles are inhumans who summon the God Hand and join the ranks of demonkind in exchange for a sacrifice similar to Griffith. Guts then kills the apostle while Farnace flees in terror at the sight. Guts then finds Farnace about to be violated by a possessed horse. I promise you, violated is an understatement, but I'm not trying to get demonetized on YouTube. Witnessing this brings Guts a traumatic memory of what Griffith did to Casca during the eclipse, and in a rage, Guts kills the horse. A spirit then possesses Farnace and forces her to act out her lust by straddling Guts until sunrise. Yo, can we go one season without somebody getting violated? Serpico then finds them and brings Farnace back to their camp, allowing Guts to go free despite Farnace's demand to have him killed. After Guts returns to the home of Godot the blacksmith, where Erica and Rickard reveal that Casca is missing. Guts then heads to St. Albion to find Casca. At the same time, Farnace and her knights see a flood of refugees from Midland in St. Albion while escorting the bishop Mosgus to the city. Guts encounters and kills a party of Kashan's scouts, saving the life of Isidro, who follows him out of admiration. Meanwhile, in a refugee camp, a prostitute named Luca is helping Casca, who is now disguised as her sister. At nightfall, Casca's demonic mark attracts possessed corpses. As she's attacked, she is saved by a monstrous fetus. This fetus turns out to be the demonic child of Casca, who got pregnant by Guts, but was tainted in the womb by Griffith after he turned into Femto and violated her during the eclipse. Meanwhile, Guts encounters the mysterious Skull Knight. The Skull Knight tells him the God Hand are using St. Albion as the site of a ritual to restore Griffith's true form. The next day, Casca follows a woman named Nina to a cult meeting, which turns out to be an orgy hosted by a group of pagans, and nearly gets forced to participate, but is saved by the spirits attracted to her mark. The fetus then reappears, getting rid of the spirits. The surviving pagans then assume that Casca is a witch due to this incident. Soon after Guts arrives at St. Albion, he runs into Luca, who sees that he has the same mark as Casca, and takes him to her tent. Unfortunately, Nina abducts Casca, The group then goes on a search party, and Isidro and Puck find Nina and Casca when they are captured by the pagan cult. In their cave, the pagans intend to marry Casca to the Great Goat and want to sacrifice Nina. Isidro distracts the pagans while Puck goes after Guts. Farnace and her knights then arrive, and Casca's mark awakens the dead which possess some of the pagans. Isidro then attempts to save Casca, while the Great Goat is transformed into a monster and begins killing people. When the Great Goat then attempts to consummate his marriage, Guts arrives at the last second to save Casca, the first time the two of them have seen each other in 2 years. Guts' reunion with Casca is cut short as he holds off the Great Goat while Isidro gets Casca and Nina to safety. Guts, with the help of Rickart's miniature bombs, kills the Great Goat. He attempts to catch up with the others when he crosses paths with Serpico. The two duel, and Guts defeats Serpico by crushing his sword with his iron arm. Serpico then uses Guts' miniature bombs against him and escapes. Isidro tells Guts that Casca and Nina were captured by the Holy Iron Chain Knights and taken to the Tower of Conviction. While Guts, Isidro, and Luca approach the tower to rescue them, a mysterious observer watches in the background. After Guts arrives at the tower, Nina says Casca is a witch. In response to this claim, the Bishop Mosgus places Casca in an Iron Maiden. But the spirits of Mosgus' tortured victims manifest as a flesh-eating blob of blood. Luca and Isidro then use Jerome to free Nina, and Guts forces Farnace to take him to the torture chamber, where Puck tells him that Casca is still alive. With Casca trapped inside, the bloody blob moves up the tower as Mosgus and his men are then transformed by the Observer. Mosgus burns away some of the blood with his flames, freeing Casca and saving Luca's group, but he intends to have Casca burned at the stake while his men attack. In an act of bravery, Luca sacrifices herself so Jerome can save Nina. The Skull Knight then suddenly appears and saves her. Luca is then spirited away by the mysterious Observer, who reveals himself to be another apostle named Egg of the Perfect World. The Skull Knight appears, causing the apostle to run away. Skull Knight then takes Luca to safety. Back in the Tower of Conviction, while the other disciples deal with Guts, Mosgus and the twins fly off with Casca. Though Guts manages to kill Mosgus' disciples, the tower begins to collapse. Mosgus then uses his powers to keep the corpses at bay while the refugees proceed to build a pyre to burn Casca. Guts sees this while noticing the 4 senior members of the God Hand have appeared. As Luca walks back to St. Albion, after being saved by the Skull Knight, the Egg of the Perfect World swallows the dying demon fetus out of sympathy during his climb up the Tower of Conviction. Moving ahead, Isidro uses a makeshift pulley to free Casca before she is burned at the stake. Mosgus nearly catches them when Guts leaps off the tower and impales him, but Mosgus' Bible shields him from the attack. After Isidro's group eliminates the last of Mosgus' disciples, Mosgus transforms and overpowers Guts. Guts uses his miniature bombs, however, to blow apart the unprotected chink in Mosgus' armored body to kill him. Finally, the Egg of the Perfect World then calls the dead to the Tower of Conviction and sacrifices himself to complete the ritual with the demonic child becoming Griffith's new vessel. The tower then collapses, killing everyone inside, and Guts and the others find themselves surrounded by Silat and the Cushions. Guts is then met once again by Zod, who fends off the Cushions. Guts then sees a newly resurrected Griffith, and Zod spirits Griffith away on his back while Guts steals a horse to take Casca back to Godot's home. Farnace then renounces her faith and decides to follow Guts, with Serpico remaining by her side, leading us to the Hawk of the Millennium Empire arc. And that is where Season 1 leaves off. It's 12 episodes that reintroduce us to the larger story of Berserk. And unfortunately, it took us till 2017 to get a continuation of this version of the story, which we will be covering in the next video, Berserk Explained in 10 Minutes Part 2. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another update. Until next time, peace!